If you look closely at any person who seems truly disciplined, you will notice something unusual about them. Their eyes move differently. Their presence feels heavier. Their habits almost look unreal. It is because real discipline changes a person so deeply that they become unrecognizable, not only to others, but even to themselves. This is the same transformation that Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest samurai philosopher in Japanese history, experienced and later taught through his legendary work, the Book of Five Rings. Musashi believed that discipline is not a skill you practice for a short season of your life, but a way of living that shapes everything you touch. His teachings are divided into 5 rings, each representing a method of mastering both your body and your mind. When all 5 come together, they create something almost dangerous. A human being who cannot be stopped by weakness, comfort, or distraction. To understand Musashi's system, we begin with the Earth Ring, because Earth is the foundation on which everything else stands. Musashi explained that before you try to change yourself, before you attempt discipline, before you plan your goals, you must learn to look at yourself with brutal honesty. Most people think they already do this, but they are mistaken. Most people think they are busy, but they are only distracted. Most people believe they are working hard, but they are only moving without purpose. Musashi understood this truth so deeply that after he defeated his most famous opponent, Sasaki Kojiro, he did not celebrate. He did not walk through towns showing his victory. Instead, he disappeared into a cave for almost 2 years to examine every weakness inside himself. Even after winning a duel that could have made him a legend, he believed he came close to losing, and he wanted to understand why. In our modern world, most people live like Gohan, a man who convinced himself he was productive simply because he felt tired. Gohan woke up tired every morning, grabbed his phone, scrolled through messages, and believed he was starting the day with purpose. He arrived late to work, opened 15 tabs at once, switched between tasks, watched random videos during lunch, and returned home exhausted. He thought he worked hard, but he did not realize that being tired does not mean being productive. To face the truth, he tracked every minute of his life for 1 week, and the results shocked him. He discovered that he spent almost 6 hours a day on his phone, 2 hours in genuine focused work, and nearly 8 hours doing things that looked like work but produced nothing. This is what Musashi meant when he said you must know both the smallest things and the biggest things. You must know every detail of your habits, and you must know the full picture of your life as well. Most people know neither. They live inside illusions created by their own excuses. Once Gohan saw the numbers, he could not unsee them. His delusion was gone. He realized he was not fighting against time. He was fighting against his own lack of focus. His exhaustion came from avoiding real work, not from doing it. This is the painful clarity the Earth Ring gives you. And once you see the truth, you are forced to make a choice. You either accept your weakness and remain the same, or you confront it and begin the journey toward transformation. But knowing the truth is only the first step. Musashi explained that when you finally attempt to change, reality will push back. This is where the water ring becomes essential. Water does not break itself trying to move through a rock. It flows around the rock, shapes itself to the situation, and eventually reshapes the rock itself. When Gohan saw his weaknesses, he tried to fix everything at once. He decided he would wake up at 4 a.m., exercise for 2 hours, do 8 hours of deep work, meditate, read, take cold showers, and completely overhaul his life in 1 day. Naturally, he failed by 6 a.m. His mind and body were not ready for such a dramatic shift. Musashi never used the same weapon twice in his early battles. He fought with swords, spears, wooden sticks, and even his bare hands because he wanted to understand movement itself, not just technique. He learned to adapt. This is the lesson Gohan needed. Instead of waking up at 4 a.m., he woke 30 minutes earlier than usual. Instead of 2-hour workouts, he did 10 push-ups. Instead of 8 hours of deep work, he did 25 minutes with a clear focus. At first, He felt embarrassed, because he believed discipline must start with huge effort. But by the end of the second week, he had completed 70 push-ups and nearly 3 hours of real work, all without breaking his routine. This is the quiet victory of the water ring. Consistency matters more than intensity. 10 minutes done every day is far more powerful than 2 hours done once. By week 4, Gohan felt his habits naturally growing. He woke at 5 a.m. without forcing himself. He completed 45-minute workouts. He produced 4 hours of deep work. He was slowly reshaping his identity. However, when you begin to rise, another enemy appears. This is the enemy that destroys more warriors than failure ever does. Comparison and anger. When you start improving, you begin looking at those who are better than you, and instead of learning from them, you begin judging your own progress too harshly. This is where the fire ring enters. Fire can destroy, but fire can also forge. One day, Gohan saw someone younger lifting heavier weights, someone else earning more money, someone else achieving more than he did. And suddenly, instead of appreciating his progress, he felt worthless. He told himself he was pathetic and that nothing he did mattered. He skipped his next workouts, then more, and his progress began to collapse. Musashi lost his father at a young age, and the anger inside him could have made him destructive. Instead, he used it as fuel for 14 hours of daily practice. He did not waste anger by turning it against himself. He directed it toward the weaknesses he wanted to destroy. Gohan began doing the same. Every night, instead of saying, "I am useless," he wrote down exactly what disappointed him. Maybe he only did 30 push-ups when he promised himself 40. Maybe he checked his phone during deep work. Maybe he ate something he regretted. And he converted each point of anger into a mission for the next day. 30 push-ups became tomorrow's minimum of 35. Phone checking became leaving the phone in another room. Eating poorly became preparing a meal the night before. It was no longer emotional noise. It became strategic fuel, and within 2 weeks, his progress doubled again. Fire was no longer burning him. It was shaping him, yet even fire can become dangerous if it leads to arrogance. After 3 months, Gohan had transformed into someone his friends hardly recognized. He woke early with ease, trained fiercely, worked deeply, and felt stronger than ever. People admired him. His family said he looked like a new man. Strength can be intoxicating. A whisper began inside him. "You have made it. You can relax now." He skipped small routines, stopped tracking his time, dropped evening planning, and within 2 weeks, half his discipline was gone. This moment is what Musashi warned about in the wind ring. Wind represents the knowledge of other schools, other methods, and other perspectives. Musashi did not study other sword schools to mock them. He studied them to stay humble. After winning more than 50 duels, he still said, "I have not yet reached the way." He understood that arrogance is the enemy that grows quietly inside you. Your biggest threat is the belief that you no longer need your systems. To recover, Gohan made a new rule. Every month, he would study someone better than him, someone whose discipline made him feel uncomfortable. Instead of avoiding that feeling, he used it as guidance. That discomfort is a sign of where you must grow next. Musashi believed that embracing humility keeps a warrior sharp while others become soft. This is the purpose of the wind ring. Stay a student forever. Finally, once you pass the 4 rings, earth, water, fire, and wind, the last ring appears, the void ring. This is the ring most people never reach, because it requires accepting a truth that sounds painful but eventually feels liberating. After 6 months of discipline, Gohan expected life to become easier. He expected to reach a point where waking up early would feel effortless, where tracking time would require no thought, where his mind would run automatically like a perfect machine. One day, completely exhausted, he realized the truth. Nothing was ever going to get easier. The work would always be work. The discipline would always require effort. The inner battle would continue every day. This realization almost broke him. until he understood the deeper message Musashi was teaching. In his writings, Musashi said, "Accept everything just the way it is." He did not mean you should accept defeat. He meant you must accept reality. Discipline is not a bridge you cross to reach a peaceful place. Discipline is the path itself, and it never ends. The Void Ring teaches that there is no finish line. Real discipline becomes your nature, not your temporary project. When Gohan understood this, something shifted inside him. He stopped asking, "When will this get easier?" And he started asking, "What battle must I fight today?" The early mornings, the tracking, the self-reflection, the consistent work, these were not steps leading to something else. They were the practice itself, and the practice was the point. Musashi painted every day, not because he wanted to be a famous artist, but because a warrior trains every part of himself. He practiced calligraphy, not to become a writer, but to discipline his mind. The actions were not about achievement, they were about identity. When you accept that the inner war never ends, something beautiful happens. The struggle stops feeling like suffering. It becomes natural, like breathing. You no longer fight against the effort. You move with it. You become a person who does difficult things simply because that is who you are. This is the Void Ring. It is the state where discipline becomes permanent. Now Gohan no longer asks when things will become easy. He only asks, "What weakness shall I face today?" Because he understands Musashi's true message. The struggle does not block discipline. The struggle builds discipline. The eternal effort is not a punishment, it is the path. And the rings are waiting for anyone who is willing to begin.